I am thrilled to be with you, and I feel like a water pistol at a 4-alarm fire with all these great speakers. It is fun to be with you, and I am here today to tell you thank you and how much it means to me to have the opportunity to say that. It's immense. I am part of the U.S. Navy history. Our first organization called Brownwater Black Beret is now morphed into Special Boat Teams. I was trained by SEAL Team 1 and served in Vietnam with SEAL Team 1, but I was not a SEAL. I was the boat guy, and I drove the little fiberglass boats they made a movie of called Apocalypse Now, and later on one called Acts of Valor. So I have a very colorful history, and I enjoy my history. I relive it every day. In fact, a few days ago, I was back in Vietnam, back on the border with Cambodia, deep in the jungle, and they're doing a movie of my life. And so I was back to touch the past, and sometimes touching the past is not always healthy. I want to talk to you a little bit about turning tragedy into triumph. You're looking me over, you would not know that to this day, I'm still a patient at Brooke Army Medical Center. I've had 56 operations, and number 50, which was 14 months ago, was a 12-hour surgery with 3 teams of doctors still trying to rebuild Humpty Dumpty. And on July the 26th, 1969, I know what you're thinking. You're so young, you think that's right after the War of 1812. But it was not. It was yesterday to me. But operation number 50 was devastating. And the reason I'm going to show you this picture, and I'm only going to leave it up about 5 or 6 seconds, because I personally am not comfortable to look at it. But I want to make a point that 49 years ago, might as well have been 49 days ago to me. There's not a day goes by I don't live in pain, but don't take that wrong. I'm not here to cry about it. I seek no pity. The worst thing about pity is it turns to self-pity and then you destroy yourself. But I'm going to show you a picture. If they'll put that up right now. This is me 14 months ago. And what you're looking at on that screen is something that I did not know had happened. Now, that sounds crazy. And take it down, please. I don't want to look at it. I didn't know what I looked like on Operation 50. And when I came to, I was under that same drug that killed Michael Jackson. And it's a powerful drug, and I'd been under it 12 hours, and the longer you're under that stuff, the more time it takes to get out from under it. And I woke up, and I was literally panicked because I thought, in my brain, I thought I was being eaten by a lion. Isn't that crazy? And my wife was there, and she reached over and just touched my hand. And instantly, I recentered. I knew where I was. Everything's fine. And the doctors were slapping each other on the back, congratulating themselves for a great surgery. And then when they helped me stand up, what you just saw, I saw in a mirror. And I looked at my doctors at Brooke, and I said, what Stone Age university did you get your medical degree from? I was so PO'd, I was ready to kill him, man. I told my wife, I said, get me out of here. Take me home. And she did. And I got home and I shut the door behind me and I looked at her and I said, nobody comes through that door. No one walks in that door. Not my daughter, not my granddaughters, not my grandsons, not my in-laws. The only person comes in that door will be my son, and baby, he comes to pick up my cold dead body off the floor. I thought I would never, ever speak again in public. And I was okay with that to this degree because I've been doing it for 50 years almost. And to say, well, I didn't have a career would be wrong. I've lost my career. I had one. But I wasn't ready to give it up, guys. I wasn't through yet. I'm 71 going on 50. Hollywood says 50 is the new 30. And according to Common Core math, I'm 20 and looking good, man. Yeah. But I was so upset and ticked off about the way I looked. And my phone rang. And today, I have 3 jobs. I work as a contractor for Department of Defense. Number 2, I have my own corporation. I travel and work with that mostly. And thirdly, I work for American Airlines, and I'm spokesman for their Air Power Foundation charity, which includes what's called Snowball Express. And I look down, my phone's ringing. I push answer, and it's on speaker. My wife is standing beside me. And I look down, and it's Jim Palmersheim, who's the executive of that foundation for American Airlines. Hey, Dave, he said, how you doing? I lied right through my teeth. I said, I'm doing great. That's why I got that big crack there. I can lie through my teeth better. I said, I'm doing great. And he said, I got a mission for you. And I panicked. I mean, I felt my blood turn cold because I knew he was going to put me up in front of people. That's what I do, what I'm doing right now. He said, I have 1,600 kids. Every one of their daddies were killed in the global war on terror. And their mamas and those kids are in this meeting. We have 3,000 gathered with their friends, and they want you to speak to them. I said, okay, when and where? My wife looked at me, she said, what about that door? Women. Pff. You can't live with them, and you can't live with them. So when we hung up, she said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm calling Phantom of the Opera and see if I can borrow their mask. I checked, it's the wrong half. Dadgummit. So I went, my wife and I made me a mask, and we go back to this big hotel there in Dallas that has this huge convention center. 3,000, I couldn't see them, kind of like here, the lights bright, and I can only see a few of you where the light's on you. I couldn't see, but I could hear them. And the chief executives for American are there, and they're hugging me and saying, Dave, we know it's not convenient, we know it's difficult, but thank you for coming. All that's supposed to help, but I'm terrified. I've been doing this long enough not to get butterflies, although sometimes I do. And people say, what do you do when you get butterflies? I say, I tell them to fly in formation. And being Air Force, you might pick up on that. So they're saying thank you, and I'm saying, yeah, I'm good, but I'm not. And then to make it worse, the person going to introduce me was 28 years old, most beautiful girl I mean, this is totally Miss America stuff. All of her parts are in the right places, and they put her on my right arm, and I got this arm candy walking out there to introduce me, and I'm thinking, those kids going to look up here and they're going to say, the Beauty and the Beast. And then I started laughing inside. I thought, I can't tell these kids she's a beast. So, you know what? Humor is one of the best ways in the world to get out of a dark place. When you start feeling down and dark, laugh a little bit. Laugh more, gripe less, and you have a happy life. Give me a hand if you agree with me. Let me hear it. So it all started back on the river in Vietnam, just a few miles from the Cambodian border, in a place nicknamed the Parrot's Beak. And I remember kissing my bride goodbye to go to that war. I said bride, but you need to know the rest of the story. She wasn't my high school sweetheart. She was my junior high school sweetheart. I asked her to marry me when I was 16. She slapped me. She said, I'm only 13 years old. I said, but you have the body of a 14-year-old. She slapped me again. We had a rough start. She said, if you love me, you'll wait for me. And I waited for her. She graduated and we got married. And I looked at her that day. I went to Vietnam. And she said, are you coming back? And I can still taste the salt of her tears on my lips. I said, I'll be back without a scar. I knew when I said it, I made a promise I couldn't keep. We had among the highest KIA per capita in the entire war. We were a tiny group, but we were so vulnerable on those boats. No place to hide, no place to run. I remember running 8 and 10 miles a day, training there at Coronado. And if you've never seen a fat man run, it's totally awesome. I was still jiggling 15 minutes after we were through running. Then I lost the weight and I started toning up and was good to go. But I wasn't good to go whenever I kissed her goodbye. And I was so proud of myself because I didn't come to tears. You know what I'm saying? Big boys don't cry. But the big boy pants came off when she called my name, Davy. And I turned around and I said, what? She said, are you coming back? And I said, I'll be back without a scar. Why did I say that? I could have just said, I'll be back. Then I could be governor of California. So I go to war. I make it 8 months. I take 2 injuries on the 23rd of July, then the second one in the same place. 2 days later, they kept me off the river for 2 days to recover from some shrapnel in my right eye. And on the third day, I go back to the same place for intelligence reports. And bingo, man, I'm hit. I can't even begin to tell you what it meant. I thought I was hit by a B-40 anti-tank rocket propelled grenade. It was months later in the hospital when I was conscious. They told me, you were hit by a sniper. And I said, a sniper can't do this to me. The sniper's bullet that was aimed for my head apparently hit my right hand, which was holding a white phosphorus grenade 1 second from delivery. And you guys know what phosphorus is. White phosphorus will burn in water. I've been told it burns at 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. When it blew, my face came off. I looked down, I could see my heart beating. My face is on my boots, skin dripping. My left thumb was blown off. That really bothered me. I can't hitchhike in England. It's the left thumb. I tried and they thought I'd shake my fist at them. I tried a different finger. They tried to run over me. So don't do that. But I looked at it and my right hand was severed right in half. These fingers don't work, but they make a good mic stand. So you got to go with what you got to go with. Whatever life hands you, take it and run with it. I'm not going to make point-by-point illustration of what I'm trying to say. You're smart enough to pick it out in what I'm saying. And take these things that hit you, because resiliency is that capacity to bounce back. And I'm trying to tell you that in a personal story, but I'm counting on you to pick it out to make it personal to your life. You got to come back strong. You never settle. Don't ever settle. Be the extra in the ordinary. Be the ab in the normal. Be the super in the natural. Be the 10% above the 100%. Everything you do, do it with all of your heart, not part of your heart. Don't give up. Stay in the battle. And I'm not emotional. I'm allergic to this carpet up here. In sign language, that means I love you. But my thumb got blown off, so I speak sign language with a lisp. It means I love you. Well, the grenade blew, and it literally, my right eye, I went blind, blew my hair off, blew my ear off. I got my hair back. I bought it. There's a guy in China that's bald today because it's made in China. I don't mind the hairpiece. I was speaking at the Citadel in South Carolina not long ago. Wind caught my hair. Boom, there it went right down. I'm chasing it across the parking lot. That's embarrassing. A dog shot by me and got my hair. And the 4-star general from the Air Force, he's down on his knee. He's laughing so hard. I'm embarrassed. I don't mind. My ear's wonderful. It fell off when I was speaking one night in Jamaica. I used to travel with Dr. Billy Graham for 9 years, and I'd speak these huge audiences. One night I'm speaking to 10,000 Jamaicans, and suddenly they all do the same thing at the same time. Cover their mouth, sucking air like a Hoover, pointing at me, not blinking. I checked my fly, man. I know something's wrong, right? I look around, my ear had fallen off. It was laying on my shoulder. I picked it up, dried the sweat, stuck it back on. They thought it was a miracle, and they all got saved. How about that? I've done 6 tours to Iraq and 2 to Afghanistan with DOD as a resiliency coach in the Comprehensive Soldier Fitness Program. And I was one night, and I think it was Fallujah. We made several stops, but we had a bunch of detainees on board and some SEALs. And I got off to go to the latrine, so I'm coming back after, and I'm almost the last guy to board, and you know you can't board without your battle rattle. So I threw on my body armor. It hit my ear, knocked it off. It's on the ramp, and it's got the divots and the channels and the rollers, you know. And I didn't want anybody stepping on my ear. It cost $25,000 to make that thing. So I said, nobody move. I mean, nobody moved. And one of them said, what's wrong? I said, I had to fess up. I said, my ear fell off. I said, would y'all find it? So here are these SEALs down there feeling around in the dark trying to find my ear. One of them looked up at me and said, you didn't lose your ear. You're just making us look like idiots. I said, no, man, I lost it. One of you down there is close. I hear you breathing. Here's what's funny. He said, dude, is it me? You're defending my country? Anyway. That day when that helicopter landed to pick me up, it's called a dust off, as you know. They landed and they rolled me over. The water did not extinguish the fire. Whenever the grenade blew, I jumped off the bow of the boat into the water. My skin was everywhere. I told everybody I was beside myself. I needed to pull myself together. I swam across the river. The helicopter landed. And forgive me for talking fast. I want to get it all said before my time's up. They rolled me on the stretcher. I was still burning. They picked up the stretcher running. It caught fire, ripped open. I fell through on my head. It was just one of those days. Nothing worked out right. They got me in the helicopter, and the medic thinks I'm dead. He's actually filling out paperwork, I guess, about being killed in action. Under the blanket, I am now having all the shock wear off and all the pains coming on. From my waist up, I'm stripped to skin, 50% third degree. And I yelled, medic! He almost jumped out of that helicopter, scared him so bad. I think the pilot lost control because we're dropping like a rock, and I thought, good Lord, we're going to crash, and I'll be the only survivor. They got me to Saigon and then to Japan, and I did something very wrong. I asked for a mirror, and they did something very wrong. They brought one. And they held it over my face, and with my good eye, I looked up at it, and I thought, she'll never love me. I'm a freak and a monster. No teenage girl's going to love me. And I did something I'm very ashamed of, but if I don't tell you the whole truth, I'm lying. So the whole truth is, I gave up that day. That's not me. I'm not like that, but I did. I never had a drug in my body in my life to this day. I've never smoked a joint, never snorted coke. Coke's been in my nose. I was drinking, sneezing. That's a bad trip. I have never done a drug. That day, they had powerful drugs in me. I was out of my head. I say, I'm looking for excuses, but there's no excuse to take your life. And I tried to kill myself. I didn't have a gun. I didn't have a knife. How do you kill yourself? I pulled the tube and I laid my head back and waited to die. And I got hungry. It was the wrong tube. I'll pull lunch. And I'm glad today I've got 4 grandbabies. I got a great son, a great daughter, and a wonderful wife. 50 years that girl's been with me. We're still together. What do you think of that? So I close by telling you, it's been a rough go. I'm still having surgeries. I don't mind. They're putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. All the king's horses and all the king's men. One day along came the king. Humpty's back, baby. Humpty's back in style. My name is Dave Reever, and I approve of this message. Thank you.